You constantly hear the baby boomers, often your own parents, reciting the tired old script: buy a house, build a family, invest for the future, and live the happy life. They tell you stories of buying their first home for a ridiculously cheap price, often with zero competition. Sounds like the American dream, right? Wrong. The crushing reality is that today, most people can't even afford their rent, let alone gather the colossal down payment needed to buy a house. Even those who managed to snag a mortgage are now struggling to keep up with the punishing monthly payments. If you think this is just a problem specific to your local market, you're mistaken. This affordability crisis is a systematic issue that has infected almost every major city and country globally. The truth is, home ownership has been turned into a rigged game designed to keep the average person out. We need to break down the cold, hard facts: why housing has become utterly unaffordable, who is truly benefiting from this crisis, and why this engineered shortage is unlikely to stop unless we tear down the existing structure. The most significant betrayal is this: houses stopped being homes and became financial assets. A long time ago, buying a house was simply a normal, predictable part of growing up. It meant stability and a place to raise a family. In the 1960s, the average house cost only 2 to 3 times the median person's yearly salary. This meant a single person working a regular blue-collar job could realistically afford to buy a home. The system was designed to help this, but everything has changed. Today, the median U.S. house costs about 5 to 6 times the median household income. And in high-cost, desirable cities, this multiple can easily exceed 8 times income. The fundamental shift is that older generations bought homes when they were cheap, watched their value aggressively appreciate, and now see these assets not as shelter, but as wealth generators. People started seeing houses as instruments to invest in, hold, and sell for profit, rather than just places to live. As this speculative mindset took over, the entire market shifted. Affordable, small starter homes have virtually disappeared, replaced by larger, more luxurious, profit-driven developments. The moment a house became a financial tool first and a home second, the game changed forever. The core question is, why do prices keep aggressively climbing, even when regular buyers are priced out and purchasing volume slows? In any normal market, if nobody wants to buy a phone or a car, the price drops. But housing is different. Prices continue to rise relentlessly. The first major culprit is restrictive zoning laws. Many cities enforce strict rules determining what kind of buildings can be constructed and where. As populations grow, governments often fail to update these archaic rules, and some neighborhoods even ban apartments or small, dense homes completely. This artificial restriction on density and supply means fewer units can ever be built, which keeps prices artificially high. Making matters worse, developers often engage in land hoarding. They buy available land but refuse to build immediately, instead sitting on it and waiting for prices to inflate further so they can sell homes for maximum profit later. The complicated building process acts as another choke point. Construction is slow, expensive, and constantly delayed by bureaucratic permit issues, rising material costs, and labor shortages. When builders finally commit, they choose big, luxury homes because those generate higher profits, ignoring the desperate need for affordable starter homes. Finally, we have zombie houses. Investors buy these properties, leave them permanently empty, and wait for the surrounding prices to rise, thereby making the actual housing shortage problem worse. The game is further rigged by the rise of the institutional landlord. Your landlord is a hedge fund. In the past, your landlord was typically a normal person, a retired couple, or someone with a second house. Today, that is rapidly disappearing. In numerous major cities, your home is owned not by a person, but by a giant, multinational company. Massive Wall Street firms, such as Blackstone and Invitation Homes, now aggressively own tens of thousands of houses, sometimes over 100,000 homes combined. These institutional players do not care about the homes. They care about using them to generate maximum profit. This is a primary reason why rent keeps rising, even if home buying slows down. This acquisition frenzy isn't limited to Wall Street. Investors, including these big companies, are now buying a stunning 1 out of every 4 homes sold, meaning regular families are no longer just competing with other families. They are competing with rich investors and corporations who are rapidly monetizing shelter. To top it off, many homes are now removed from the residential supply entirely to be rented as short-term Airbnb-style stays. This is great for tourists, but when too many homes become short-term rentals, it drastically reduces the available supply for locals who actually need to live there, driving locals out and intensifying the scarcity, as seen in cities like Barcelona. The entire system operates on a fundamental contradiction. Make the problem and then sell a flawed solution. If you complain about unaffordability, you'll be met with the lazy, victim-blaming advice to stop buying avocado toast or work harder. That is pure nonsense. The truth is that home prices have risen way faster than wages, making saving a futile exercise against hyperinflationary assets. When politicians do try to help, their efforts often backfire. Programs like tax breaks or first-time buyer bonuses only serve to increase demand without increasing the desperately needed supply, which simply pushes prices even higher. The system is full of hypocrisy. Many existing homeowners vote to block new housing developments, NIMBYism, to protect the inflated value of their own homes, yet simultaneously claim they want prices to be affordable for their children. That logic doesn't hold up. Furthermore, getting a home loan keeps getting harder as mortgage rules keep changing. In big cities, renters often spend 35% to 45% of their income on rent, far above the recommended 30%. Everyone feels stuck. The renter is trapped in the cycle of escalating rent, and the buyer is trapped with high monthly payments and rising interest. So, is renting now the new permanent normal? Can this problem even be fixed? Yes, but it requires radical action, not easy fixes. Experts suggest several structural reforms. Land value tax, which taxes only the land, not the building, encouraging owners to build or sell instead of hoarding empty lots for speculation. Zoning reform, changing restrictive rules to allow for high-density apartments and smaller units, and critically, banning or reducing tax benefits for owners with multiple homes to reduce the number of houses treated purely as investment vehicles, freeing up supply for first-time buyers. The biggest obstacle to reform is political reality. Most people in power already own homes. If prices drop suddenly, a huge percentage of the voting population, including the very politicians, would be furious. A sudden dip could also trigger a dangerous scenario where recent buyers owe more than their house is worth, like the 2008 crash. But without structural change, the crisis will deepen. For instance, the share of new single-family homes sold for under $300,000 in the U.S. collapsed from 40% in 2020 to under 23% by 2024, a nationwide collapse in affordable new builds. Unless the rules are fundamentally rewritten, renting will become the default for an entire generation. The dream of homeownership was betrayed. We allowed houses to become investment tools, supplies to be choked, and massive investors to buy up shelter before regular families even had a chance to bid. The real problems won't be solved until the entire rigged system is dismantled.